Obviously, not exactly the way you want the season to end, but just kind of wrap up just this season, what this means for the program going to two straight Elite Eights.
Yeah, it was it's always tough to lose that last game, and unless you win it all, you're going to lose your last game unless you don't make the tournament. Which we've made the tournament now the last 3 years: Sweet 16, Final Four, and this year an Elite Eight. 34-4, broke the school record for most wins in a season. We had the Freshman of the Year, Player of the Year, All-American. Guys like Brandon Hall, Gotch, Ryan Quaid, what they meant to the program is just everything. Doing it the right way, and then to have some young guys really step up. It was a fantastic run. It takes a few days. It might even take a couple months to kind of let it sink in of what these guys accomplished, and they did. They accomplished so much this year. Again, you get to an Elite Eight, there's 8 really good teams out there. I thought anybody could have won that tournament. But it comes down to kind of, making a few shots here or there. Northwest Missouri State wins the whole thing. They make a 3 right before half. They bank in a 3 from 35 feet. You got to have a little luck, and you got to be really good. They're obviously very good. They had a little luck as well, and that's what happens. But great environment to be out there. 7,300 people at our game. Big crowd. And it was a lot of fun for our guys. Hopefully it helps our returning players really understand what it takes to win a national title. And again, you have to be lucky, you have to be good, and sometimes the ball has to bounce your way.
What did it show you seeing an 18-year-old, however old Quay is, to come out and drop, was it 26, 28 in that final game?
Yeah, there's some really good freshmen. And Quay is one of them. The kid from Northwest was a freshman. They actually started 2 freshmen, a sophomore and a junior, so they're going to be good again next year as well. But if you're good, you're good. Quay Grant is someone that could be a special player for us. He could be an All-American next year. I don't know. He's going to have to work hard this summer. He's going to have to improve, really get in the gym, work on his shot. He's got a lot of tools already, and I think he's grown a lot this year. I think he can be even better next year with him and JoJo in the backcourt. I'm really excited about those two. We've got some other pieces coming back as well. Eric Mosley played a lot of minutes this year. Jordan Collins. And other guys. So it's something that we've got to find a couple pieces to replace Ryan Quaid, Gotch, Brandon Hall, those 3 being seniors. So it'll be tough to replace those guys, but we've got a few guys right now that we're looking at, and I think with the success that we have, with the program we have, the facilities that we have, we should be able to get some really good players coming in.
If you think about where you were 5 years ago coming in and now where you are now, what has it taken to really not necessarily rebrand's not the word I use, but reboot the entire program in such a short time?
I think it takes time. You don't build a program in 1 or 2 years. I think we've done that over time now. I thought our first year was a very good year, going 17-12, when we had 3 players returning, and that was April. So we had 3 players, actually 4 players, 3 seniors, 1 walk-on, Rylan Gerber, freshman, coming back. And that was the middle of April, end of April. And so we still have a little bit of time. And now we have a guy coming back, an All-American candidate in Quay Grant, JoJo Murray, first team or a Defensive Player of the Year, and an All-Conference player as well. Those 2 guys coming back, Eric Mosley, Jordan Collins. So we've got a lot of pieces already in place going forward for next year. But it just takes some time because that first year we had 3 seniors that were very good. They're good players, Antoine, Miles, and Tez. But the bad thing was that they're seniors, and so they're gone. So you really don't start building a program. So it took a year, 2 years. Our second year we won 21 games, and then the third year we got to the Sweet 16, winning 26 games. So that kind of really got it going. But those guys, Antoine, Miles, Tez, Eric Mosley was in that first class, Tommy Gove, those guys kind of laid the groundwork for what we've accomplished now. And again, very proud of our guys this year. It was a great year. Ended very quickly, but I think the pieces are in place for years to come.
You guys, you guys pretty much ran out 5 guards last year. Are you guys going to try to recruit a little bit more size this year, you think, or how's it going to go trying to replace Quaid?
It's usually the players that are 6'10" that can play. They usually have a few more schools after them. If I can find that 6'10" player with a 4.0 that nobody wants that can really play, I'm going to go grab them. But usually those guys, everybody's after them, and you have to drive by some schools in the Metroplex to get here to WT. Midwestern and Dallas Baptist and Commerce and Tarleton, and so a lot of schools are after the same players. It's hard to get players. You've got to find the right fit for us, as well as the right fit for that player. And when you do, when you find like a Ryan Quaid or a Quay Grant or Gotch, now you got a great player that wants to be here, that wants to have success, that wants to be challenged academically as well as athletically. And that's our goal, is to go find those players that really want to be at Division II, because everybody wants to play Division I for some reason. And that's great, but some guys want to win. And that's something that's very important to me, is winning, and winning the right way. And I think that's what we're going to try to find those players right now. That's our goal, is to get some really good players with a little more size coming in for next year.
And then the last question for me is, of course, getting back to the Elite Eight is always hard. You talk about how tough it is just to get back. And what's the hardest part of getting back there and then, again, not finishing as you wanted to?
Well, you think about it, just getting into the national tournament, 64 teams get into the national tournament out of the 300, so that's 1/5 of the teams make it. So we have about 10 schools in our conference, so 2 schools out of our conference make it every year. The RMAC got in 2 this year, and sometimes you'll get in 3 or 4 teams in a conference if your conference is really strong, but just to get into the national tournament is really, really tough. And then go try to win a game, and then try to win another one, try to win 3 in a row. It is very, very tough to do. 6 schools had the #1 seed that advanced to the Elite Eight this year. Mercyhurst and Southern Indiana were the 2 that did not, weren't the #1 seed. So it's very important to get that #1 seed, to be the best in your region. There's no guarantees that you're going to still make it, but it really does help. And so that's our goal for next year too, is to get the #1 seed, try to host again, and try to fill up the First United Bank Center like we did. We had almost 3,500 people here for that game, and it was loud, it was fun, it was a great environment. I wish we would have had that for us at the Elite Eight in the first round, but it was the other way around, doubled. But it's something that you've got to play well all year long. You got to stay healthy, and you have to have some really good players. And I think that's what we've had. That's what we have coming back, and I think we have a chance to get back there. But you have to go earn it, and we'll have to go earn it in 1920.
I know Commerce is losing a few players, but do you know, I know it's super far out, but who in the LSC would really be challenging you guys next year?
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's really far out, but there's some teams that have some good guys coming back. I mean, St. Ed's is going to be very good. They'll be in the LSC next year. Lubbock Christian is always good, but they lose their big kid. Kingsville is always tough. They've always played us tough. Commerce will reload. I think Midwestern, with a new coach coming in, that should be an interesting situation over there. Dallas Baptist will be good. Tarleton has a great nucleus and one of the best players coming back in Josh Howley. They didn't make the tournament now for the last 2 years. They don't make the national tournament for 2 years in a row. So even to get into that tournament, that'll be tough, because those guys don't have a lot of experience getting into the national tournament. But it's something that it could be anybody, any given year. Recruiting will be big right now. We'll be going out on the road, and we've got some players that we've targeted. I can't mention any names. It's against the NCAA rules, but we'll go out and we'll get our players. Other teams will get theirs, and it should be an interesting season next year with the new teams coming into the conference.